There are scent glands in your cat's paw pads. Every time they touch you, something chemical happens. Most people think it's affection, and in a sense it is. But that word, affection, obscures the mechanism. It makes the behavior feel simple when it's not. Here's what's actually happening. When your cat places their paw on you, they're releasing pheromones from glands located between the pads. Those pheromones transfer to your skin. At the same time, the physical contact triggers a cascade in both your nervous systems. Cortisol drops, oxytocin rises, heart rate stabilizes. This isn't a gesture, it's a neurochemical event. And once you understand the mechanism, the behavior stops being random. You start seeing when it happens, why it happens, and what your cat's nervous system is responding to. Let's start with the scent glands. Cats have 5 types of scent glands. Most people know about the ones on the face, the temporal glands near the ears, the perioral glands around the mouth. These are the glands activated during headbutting and cheek rubbing. But the paw pads have their own glands. Interdigital glands located between the toes. Every time your cat steps, kneads, or places their paw on a surface, these glands release pheromones. In the wild, this is how cats mark territory. When a cat scratches a tree, they're not just sharpening their claws, they're depositing scent. The visual mark says, "A cat was here." The scent mark says, "This specific cat was here." But when a cat places their paw on you, the function shifts. This is where most explanations stop. They say, "It's marking," or "It's bonding," and leave it at that. But the distinction matters. Because marking and bonding use the same glands, but they don't use them the same way. Marking is about territory. It's a declaration. The cat leaves scent and moves on. The goal is to create a boundary, to signal ownership, to deter other cats. Bonding is about proximity. It's a reinforcement. The cat leaves scent and stays. The goal is not to claim you as territory, but to integrate your scent profile with theirs. To create what researchers call a colony scent. In feral cat colonies, cats who live together develop a shared scent signature. They rub against each other, groom each other, sleep in contact. Over time, their individual scents blend. This shared scent signals to all members of the colony, "You belong here." When your cat places their paw on you, they're doing the same thing. They're adding their scent to you and absorbing yours. They're building a shared scent profile. But that's only half the mechanism. The other half is tactile. Physical contact between bonded mammals triggers a specific response: cortisol reduction. Cortisol is the stress hormone. It's released during threat response, during pain, during uncertainty. In small doses, cortisol is adaptive. It sharpens focus, mobilizes energy, prepares the body for action. But chronic elevated cortisol is destructive. It suppresses the immune system, disrupts sleep, increases anxiety. Cats living in high-stress environments, shelters, chaotic households, unstable territories show chronically elevated cortisol. Their baseline is higher. Their threshold for stress response is lower. Physical contact with a bonded individual lowers cortisol. A 2015 study measured cortisol levels in shelter cats before and after tactile contact with humans. Cats who had formed an attachment to a specific caregiver showed measurable cortisol drops after being petted by that person. Cats who had not formed an attachment showed no change. The mechanism is touch-mediated. The pressure of contact activates mechanoreceptors in the skin. Those receptors send signals to the hypothalamus, which regulates cortisol release. If the brain categorizes the touch as safe, meaning it's coming from a known, bonded individual, the hypothalamus reduces cortisol output. When your cat places their paw on you, they're not just transferring scent. They're receiving tactile feedback that lowers their stress response. And it's bidirectional. You release oxytocin too. Oxytocin is the bonding hormone. It's released during social contact, during caregiving, during moments of safety and connection. In humans, oxytocin is associated with trust, attachment, and social bonding. A 2017 study measured oxytocin levels in cat owners before and after interacting with their cats. Physical contact, petting, holding, having the cat sit on their lap, triggered measurable oxytocin increases. The longer the contact, the higher the oxytocin. But here's the critical part. Oxytocin release is contingent on attachment. If you pet a stranger's cat, your oxytocin might rise slightly. But if you pet your own cat, a cat you've lived with, bonded with, built a relationship with, the oxytocin response is significantly stronger. The same is true for the cat. When your cat places their paw on you, physical contact triggers oxytocin release in their system. But only if they've categorized you as part of their colony. Only if the bond exists. This is why some cats do this constantly, and others never do. It's not about personality, it's about attachment. Cats who have formed secure attachments seek physical contact. They place their paw on you while you sleep, while you work, while you're sitting still. They're reinforcing the bond through repeated tactile and chemical exchanges. Cats who haven't formed secure attachments don't seek this contact. They might tolerate being petted, but they won't initiate touch. The neurochemical feedback loop hasn't been established. Now let's look at the contexts. Because your cat doesn't place their paw on you randomly, the behavior occurs in specific situations, and each situation reveals something about what their nervous system is responding to. Context 1. During sleep. If your cat places their paw on you while you're both resting, this is proximity maintenance. They're in a vulnerable state, senses dulled, reaction time slow, and they're maintaining physical contact with you as a safety signal. This is the same mechanism we covered in the sleep video. Your scent is registered as safe. Physical contact reinforces that safety. The paw placement is a low-effort way to maintain the bond without requiring full body contact. Some cats do this at your feet, some against your side, some on your chest. The location doesn't matter. What matters is that they're choosing to maintain tactile connection during the most vulnerable part of their day. Context 2. When you're working. If your cat places their paw on you while you're focused on something else, typing, reading, watching a screen, this is an attention bid. But it's not just, I want attention. It's more specific than that. The cat has registered that your attention is directed elsewhere. They're using physical contact to redirect your focus back to them. This works because touch is impossible to ignore. Visual and auditory signals can be filtered out. You can look away from your cat, you can tune out their vocalizations, but you can't ignore tactile contact. The mechanoreceptors in your skin will register the touch and send a signal to your brain whether you want them to or not. Your cat knows this. Not consciously, but their nervous system has learned that touch is the most reliable way to capture your attention when other signals fail. Context 3. When they want something specific. If your cat places their paw on you and then looks toward their food bowl, their water dish, the door, this is directional communication. They're using touch to establish focus, then using gaze direction to indicate intent. It's a two-step signal. First, pay attention to me. Second, pay attention to this. This is learned behavior. Cats who live with attentive owners learn that this sequence works. Touch captures attention. Gaze directs action. The owner follows the gaze and provides what the cat needs. Cats who live with inattentive owners don't develop this behavior. They learn that touch doesn't lead to action, so they stop using it as a signal. Context 4. After you've been away. If your cat places their paw on you immediately after you return home, this is scent recalibration. While you were gone, you accumulated foreign scents. Other people, other animals, Unfamiliar environments. Your scent profile has changed. The cat's vomeronasal organ detects this change. Their amygdala flags it as potential threat, not because you're dangerous, but because the scent is unexpected. By placing their paw on you, they're doing two things. First, they're redepositing their scent to restore the colony signature. Second, they're gathering olfactory information about where you've been and what you've encountered. This is why some cats will sniff your hands, your clothes, your shoes after you've been away. They're not jealous. They're not upset. They're updating their internal scent map. Context 5. When they're stressed. If your cat places their paw on you during a stressful event, a thunderstorm, construction noise, a vet visit, this is proximity seeking for cortisol reduction. The cat's baseline stress is elevated. Cortisol is high. The amygdala is in threat detection mode. They need a safety signal to down-regulate the stress response. You are that safety signal. Physical contact with you triggers the cortisol drop we discussed earlier. The longer the contact, the more pronounced the effect. Some cats will maintain paw contact for minutes at a time during high-stress events, using your presence as a biological anchor to keep their nervous system from spiraling into panic. This is attachment in action. The bond is strong enough that your presence, and specifically physical contact with you, can override the threat response. Now let's talk about why some cats don't do this. If your cat never places their paw on you, it doesn't mean they don't love you. It means one of three things. First, they haven't formed a secure attachment yet. Attachment takes time. Cats who are new to your household, cats who were poorly socialized, cats who came from high-stress environments, these cats may not have developed the bond that makes tactile contact feel safe. The neurochemical feedback loop we've been discussing requires repeated positive experiences. Touch leads to cortisol drop and oxytocin release, which reinforces the bond, which makes future touch more likely. But if the cat hasn't experienced that loop enough times, the behavior doesn't develop. Second, they're expressing attachment differently. Not all cats use paw placement as a bonding signal. Some cats prefer sleeping in contact. Some prefer headbutting. Some prefer sitting nearby without touching. The absence of one behavior doesn't mean the absence of attachment. It means the cat has a different behavioral repertoire. Third, they're touch-averse due to past experience. Cats who were handled roughly, restrained against their will, or punished through physical contact may develop a negative association with touch. Even if they've formed an attachment to you, they may avoid initiating physical contact because their nervous system has learned that touch can be unpredictable or unpleasant. This is reversible, but it requires patience. You can't force a touch-averse cat to seek contact. You can only create conditions where touch becomes safe again. Predictable handling, respecting their boundaries, allowing them to initiate and end contact on their terms. Over time, the positive experiences can overwrite the negative associations. The cortisol reduction effect and the oxytocin release can rebuild the feedback loop, but it takes longer, and it requires consistency. So here's what we've covered. When your cat places their paw on you, they're releasing pheromones from interdigital glands, building a shared colony scent. Physical contact lowers cortisol in both of you. Oxytocin rises, reinforcing the bond. The behavior occurs in specific contexts. During sleep for proximity maintenance, when you're busy for attention redirection, when they want something for directional communication, after you've been away for scent recalibration, and when they're stressed for cortisol reduction. If your cat doesn't do this, it's not a rejection. It's either early attachment, a different bonding style, or touch aversion from past experience. None of this is random. All of it is neurochemistry. Your cat isn't just touching you. They're running a chemical exchange that reinforces the bond, reduces stress, and maintains the colony scent profile. That's not affection in the abstract. That's a nervous system doing exactly what it evolved to do. If this changed how you see your cat's touch, hit the like button. And subscribe. We're breaking down cat behavior through neuroscience every week. And here's a question for you. Does your cat place their paw on you? In what situations? During sleep, when you're working, when they want something, after you've been away, or when they're stressed? Drop a comment. I'm curious what patterns we'll see.